Welcome back to episode 32 of the Amateur Hour podcast. Good morning, as always, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening to myself and Connor. And as well, we have got a special guest on this episode. We have got Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Dan Bastick. I've just come up on that on the spot, mate, to be honest. That was pretty decent. But no, we've got him on. To be fair, a lot of you will already know Dan Bastick. We're not going to get him on. I'm not going to ask him, obviously. Hello, mate. Give us your little background. If you don't know who he is one of probably one of the best up and coming coaches in the country over the past 2 years. He coaches a lot of people who we've rated their physiques in terms of Nat. We had the junior on, which was competing at PCA Naturals, Alex, who I actually spoke to, and talking about who we can get on in the future, which will be good. So thank you for that, mate. But mate, how are you?
Good, bro. Very, very good. I think this is going to be a pretty insightful episode.
For sure.
Um, and I think, yeah, skipping over, obviously, we can give a quick intro to him now, realistically. So I've got his Instagram up. Let me just share the screen. Boom. There we go. So, Mr. Dan Bastick is not only a great coach, he's also a promising bodybuilder, coming up in the ranks, and is someone that we can get a pretty good insight on many different sort of levels today, I think. He's passionate about his training, passionate about bodybuilding as a whole, passionate about coaching and his business. And I think that we can touch on pretty much all of those with
No,
him.
for sure, mate. I think what we're going to sort of delve into is how as you can see here, he takes his bodybuilding very, very seriously. He's coached his other half to the Olympia. So, in terms of trying to maximize your own progress in terms of your own physique development within bodybuilding, but also as well running and managing a very successful online coaching brand alongside that, and how he's handled that, because over the past 2 years, he has blown up. Not only from a physique perspective, but also as well from a coaching perspective. So, as you can see, he coaches Cameron Flex, who we had on last week, and he also coaches Nat, a former junior, as you can see here, who won the British finals 2 years ago. That's when I actually got sort of like not introduced, but that's when I first sort of knew about Dan. And then ever since then, as you can see, he's been putting really good people on stage. I know he coaches Billy as well, who won PCA Birmingham last year, I think it
Yeah.
was, which is very, very good. So he's got some very, very good athletes on his books. He coaches a lot of people. He's strong as well. As you can see
Oh,
there,
he's ridiculously strong.
he's
I think training is
ridiculously.
going to be like a big topic on this episode. I think he's got a lot to say about training, which would be I'm interested to fucking learn from him. So um yeah,
It'll be class.
training is big,
Yeah,
isn't it?
we'll sort of break it down into his training, his methodology in terms of what he's learned, and then we'll go into, like I said, the brand and the business side of things and how he's managed that alongside being an athlete himself. Because at the end of the day, he's a very, very good athlete, and also he's a very, very good coach. So how you manage that and how do you maximize those two avenues alongside, obviously, everything else alongside what comes with coaching and bodybuilding as well. Because it's not just, oh yeah, do this, do that. When he's traveling as well to client shows, I saw him at the weekend at PCA Naturals. How do you manage that? See all these different things that we're going to go into. So for you up and coming coaches, this is going to be a good sort of episode in terms of how you can maximize not only your own progress, but also as well build up your own online coaching brand alongside that. So that is going to be today's episode. And to be fair, mate, it's going to be good. He's coached a lot of people that I look up to, or what Nat especially, where I remember watching Nat's show day vlog, mate. Show day,
Oh
I
yeah.
think, mate, so many times. Um, now I just kept thinking, like, this guy's a junior. How is he a junior? Ridiculous.
I
Um,
remember watching that the British finals one where he won the
mhm.
PTA. I think I watched that on prep. Must have been at least a minimum of 10 times.
Oh, mate, when I
When I
was on
was
my
on the
prep, I watched it.
Stairmaster at the beginning of prep, and then when I was just doing steps at the end of prep, I was just watching it and watching it and watching it. I loved it, bro. It was sick.
It is sick. It is really, really good. And we can get an insight in terms of how he managed not only that, but also, like I said, what's changed in terms of his methodology alongside that. Because I know he's been coached by a lot of people. He's currently coached by Hilly as well. because I know he's come across some like digestive stress over the past couple of years. So
Yeah.
Hilly's helped him massively with that. And also as well, I know Hilly likes to do a little few things around training and like high volume training and stuff. So that alongside what Dan thinks would be really good to see what he's doing. But yeah, I'm excited to get
I'm sending him the invite link now.
very
So
should
he's
well.
joining in a minute. But yeah, mate, I think it's gonna be something really, really cool. I think it's an episode that you can take a lot of value from.
So sit down, people, relax. If you're walking, get your steps in, enjoy. But other than that, mate, I've just had legs. I'm absolutely trashed. This is the last week of the diet, mate, before I go away to America.
Boom.
Thank you. It's weird, mate. You know, when it comes to like the last week of the diet, I said this previously, when it gets closer and closer to the end, you just want it to stop.
Yeah.
But in
As
the
soon as
middle,
you
you're like,
can
oh,
see
mate.
the end of the light at the end of the tunnel, you're like, yeah, fuck.
Oh, mate, that's what I'm feeling like, bro. Genuinely, I'm just thinking, oh, I just want this over and done with. But new low this morning, £241. The goal was £240 for this diet, so we're literally a pound off now.
That's so
So
mad that your goal for your cut is 240. And my goal for my push up is 240.
maybe this is the maybe I know, mate, but like I think I
Mental.
don't know what I'm going to get up to. I think I might sort of like hold here, like get what's better. I'd rather be a tidy 250 rather than like a sloppy 270. That's what I'd rather. And like I said, mate, I think I'd rather be in an improvement phase for a long period of time rather than pushing up to getting sloppy than coming back down again. That's what I've learned previously. But with me not having as much like sort of tissue that I need, my push-ups are going to have to be a little bit softer. And then obviously when I get more tissue in my off season, that'll start to look better and better and better. So that's where we're at currently. Everything's all good. And then we've got a few episodes lined up actually. So we've got Dan on today, Friday. We've got a surprise. We're going to keep that a surprise. That'll be
Yeah, we
pretty
got a
decent.
big one on Friday.
And then we're going to get a couple more before I go away. So we've got a few in the pipeline, and then we're going to get that sorted. But mate, can't wait. I mean, I'm in that point now, mate, where I can't stop. I can't wait to grow. To be honest, I've got cookie boxes galore in the freezer. Me and Charlotte, I think, like again, some sushi. So, do you know, like it's bad when you start. I never really get food focused, mate. Never really. But when you start getting a little bit more food focused, you're like, oh, I can't wait to go
Yeah,
there for a little bit. Mate. It's like one of them ones where it's like, I just want it to be over.
I know
But
exactly what you mean, bro.
it's all well and good, mate. But that is where I'm at, mate. Train's good, everything's all good. I know you're going to be modified tomorrow, aren't you, with the Alpha Neon team?
I'm going to be modified. I've never been there, so I'm actually quite
Mate,
excited.
it's a really, really good gym.
Yeah.
Really, really good gym. Owned by a guy called Jakub. Everyone calls him Jacob, but my man's Polish, so we
I'm
call him
doing
that.
I'm doing upper, and from what I've seen, they've got fucking
Oh,
really
mate,
so
uppers.
I'm
I'd
excited.
probably, if I was to pick anything there, it'd probably be upper. Even though the leg was really, really good, it would be upper. They've got
Sick.
some really good bits of kit there, mate. They've got the
Really
Cybex
sick.
that you use at House of Gains.
Yeah,
They've
I've
got
seen that one. Yeah.
Cybex Eagle, Nautilus shoulder press, Nautilus flat press. This is for anyone going to be modified, by the way. They've got the Watson T bar, Cybex VR2 row. They've got the cable, the Cybex cable that pull down.
Basically,
They've
got
got
every bit of kit that you would want.
oh mate, Nautilus pull down. Mate, it's
Love it. Love
honestly
it.
one of I think it's one of the best gyms in the it's like it's hard because obviously it's near Ultraflex Derby, so everyone's going to Ultraflex. Obviously, it's Ultraflex, and the leg equipment at Ultraflex is really really good, and the push equipment is really really good. But the pull equipment at Ultraflex Derby is pretty dog. But I think they're getting some new bits of kit in.
Yeah.
But it's like, what sort of vibe do you want? Do you want people that like people who go to Ultraflex in general, which, as you know, mate, the people who go to Ultraflex, or do you want like somebody who has built the gym from the ground up, hand picked equipment, more of like I don't know, mate, more of like I wouldn't say a nicer vibe. Music's not as half as loud as Ultraflex. You can't even hear yourself thinking Ultraflex, mate. It's so loud.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you'll really like being modified, mate. It's nice. It's a really good gym.
So
But yeah,
anyone listening to this, because this is coming out tomorrow at 9 a.m. If you're listening to it as it comes out, I will be there from about midday-ish, 11:30 midday-ish. So if you're listening to this and you're local, get there and meet me there.
what are you doing there? Is it like a little meetup thing?
I don't, to be honest, Adrian, who owns Alpha Neon, is in the area for something else and just thought it would be a good idea to kind of get everyone together
Mm-hmm.
just for a session. I think we're all just going to go train, just chill.
Oh, Sam,
See,
mate.
I think
Who else
he
is
just thought
going?
that he'd invite, like, put something on socials, and if people want to come and say hi and shit, then do it.
And then
And
you got Sarah going, and
Tara and Josh Connolly as well.
big dog, mate. Kids are
The
freak. I saw him
three.
for the first time at PCA Naturals, mate. Oh my lord, bro.
Oh yeah, he's big. He's a big boy. He
He
is a
is a
big
big boy.
boy.
He is a big boy. But Other than that, that's literally it for the rest of the week for me. I'm chilling out, getting all my stuff ready. Got the visa thing sorted for America, which you have to realize that you have to do as well. Mate, I had to pay £20 for using my phone in a different country, bro, for EE. So yeah, mate, can't use it in a different country now because I'm not part of Europe. And then if you go to a different country, you've got to pay an extra 25 quid to use your data in a different country. Explain that, mate.
Taking the piss.
Don't even get me. I was honestly, they're like, yeah, it's only an extra 25 quid. I was there like, I'm there for like 5 days. He goes, yeah, man, it's 25 quid. I was like, Sam, I only pay like £70 a month anyway.
Oh, wait, brilliant.
Brilliant. So £100 phone bill this month just for going over there, which is great. But to be fair, Anthony's doing really well, mate. He's 10 days out.
Yep.
Bringing that, he said, bringing that UK conditioning to the US, which is good. That made me
Big
laugh,
up.
mate. That it was so funny, mate. He was talking to, he calls them trainers over there. Everyone calls them trainers. Talking to one of the trainers, and he was like, this guy's got some guys that he's competing against. And he said, I don't know whether it's a US thing, but these guys don't look like they've dieted compared to me. Is that it's so
Love
funny?
it.
Oh, mate, I was there like, bro. But I look at the standard from last year, and it's true, mate, to be honest. The standard for the US, I don't know, obviously, a freak might turn up. But overall, mate, I was trying to look at the overall like sort of standard for the US. And the US shows in general, mate, it's just like this
It's
ain't
just
bad.
different. Like, do you know what it is? I think it might not even be the dieting. I think it's just the training.
I
The
think it is.
training
Honestly,
is
I think
so different.
because he's been Anthony got in contact with me like a year and a half ago, and I made him like a little like sort of write up plan. He's been following my plan for a year and a half. He told me before he even signed up. So
Sick.
so um he was doing that, and then just been going from there, mate. But he's chilling, mate. Excited though, going out this time.
Yeah,
This time, literally next week, I'll be going out. So cannot wait, mate.
yeah,
Absolutely
sick.
buzzing for it. But that'll be a good experience. But just waiting for Dan to come in
He's
to the
um he's just messaged me. He's re-downloading Zoom.
my absolute G. But I've got a few questions for him. We were going to actually put a question box up, but I
Yeah,
know
bro. You when you messaged me to do it, I was like, yeah, cool, I'll do it. Let me get a trim and then I'll jump on and do it. And then as soon as I got out of the barbers, I was like, oh fuck, forgot.
no,
And then I was gonna do it and I just kept forgetting.
I know he puts out question boxes and he's like, make them good. And they're like, people won't make them good for him. I just know. So I'd
Because
rather.
we'd get one where it's like, oh, what animal could you beat in a fight?
That's what. And he'd be like, mate, let's just move on. I can just
Yeah,
tell you,
yeah,
let's just move on. But yeah, man, I've just thought I've got a few questions that I
yeah.
want to ask him. Obviously, he can sort of delve into that. But mate, I can just tell that he's going to get some like, oh yeah. What's one of the questions that we had about fighting
Yeah,
fighting stuff or
what it was like, what could you beat a what was it? It was the one that you got on your story. It was like
yeah,
a
it was one of
sized
the
duck or like a duck-sized dog or something.
yeah.
Yeah, mental.
Mate, I wouldn't even want to ask him that question. I'd be too embarrassed. But other than that, mate, what have you got planned for the rest of the week anyway after this Thursday? Anything much, mate, or not?
Rest of the week, not too much. Just getting ready for peak week with Alex, mate. First
Mate,
peak week, buzzing, bro, buzzing. Going down to Low Soft next week, Saturday, on the 22nd, and yeah, dude, I couldn't be more excited. I was writing out his peak week plan today, or starting it, and then gonna get it sent over to him tomorrow. Writing out his post show plan. We're all on top of everything. We're on top of
mate,
everything.
that's the thing. I've already done it.
Yeah, yeah. You got to
If
do
you,
it.
we can say this, if your coach has not done that, I'd say at least 5 days prior. It was, I don't know. I just like to get it done and sent over, have it there ready so they can have it straight away. So it's just like,
It avoids having that gap where you don't know as an athlete you don't know what to do. So it's
mhm.
like fuck. Because if you haven't been there and never experienced that post show will slap you in the face so fucking hard.
Oh,
It
for sure,
is
mate.
a nasty feeling, and it's like it's hungrier than you will have ever felt on prep, and
Mhm.
it's uncontrollable for a first timer. Not always, but 99% of the time it is. So it's like having that plan in place before you've even got to that point is just it's a game. It's a game changer.
It is, mate. Having that clarity moving forwards, having that sort of different set of plans, having that extra goal, like I said with what we talked about previously. But anyway, he's in.
Boom.
Welcome, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Bastick. I can't. I'm just gonna keep saying it.
Rolling. Oh, here he is.
He's in. This is always the tricky part with Zoom. The bit where it says connecting to audio. It's
Yeah.
always the tricky part. Afternoon, Dan.
Scratching my head a little bit. How we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Technology.
Yeah, we're the
I
same,
had
mate.
a conundrum where Connor sent the link via Instagram. And I'm like, I only know Instagram on my phone. That involves going to Instagram on my laptop. I don't know how that works. So then he sent it to my email. Then I realized, oh shit, I've got a new laptop, so I haven't got the Zoom app. So I had to re-download that. And you know when you're moving the Zoom logo over to your files, then you can access it. Yeah, that was a job. That was a job.
Really testing you.
Sweating.
Yeah. How are you?
How are we doing, boys? You all right?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, very, very well. How are you guys doing?
Mate, we're good. We're good to have you on, mate. We've already done like an introduction in terms of we're going to skip over all that, mate. And we've gone through obviously the topics that we're going to speak about in terms of how
So
you've progressed.
basically, you told everyone that I'm weak as shit. I look like shit. I'm a prick.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, got you.
You nailed it on the head, mate.
Okay.
You nailed it on the head. Bang on.
Okay.
That's nothing new. But obviously, you wanted to speak about in terms of we'll sort of break it down to training and your sort of methodologies around training because I know you love training. Plus, as well, obviously, how I've seen you progress as a coach, but also as an athlete over the past 2 years as well, and how you've managed that not only physically but mentally. It's going to be really, really insightful because a lot of people that do listen to this are like ourselves, me and Connor, who are up and coming young coaches in terms of trying to maximize our own physique development, but also as well trying to maximize our own business development. And over the past 2 years, you seem to have done that quite exponentially in terms of your own physique and in terms of how quick you've progressed in terms of a business perspective. So just want to sort of delve into how you approach that, mate, and how you manage that, what things you've put in place over the past couple of years, especially like taking your other half to the Olympia. I've known you ever since you've coached Nat to the British finals. I've watched that prep as well. So that's when I first started to get to know you. But ever since then, obviously, you've just taken step up, step up, step up. So how have you found over these sort of 2, 3 years?
First and foremost, so very kind words. The biggest compliment I took out of that, you just called me an athlete.
Because you are.
Hell. Look at me. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, look, a bit of background is look, training was my first love of it all. As I think, as a bodybuilding purist, I can't obviously, Tom. I don't know you so well, so I don't know your background, but I know Connor quite a bit. So, and I'm sure you guys being on the same podcast, you guys relating, I'm sure you're the same as well, Tom. But we all fall in love with training before anything else, and I think from a bodybuilding purist standpoint, it's got much more longevity in the sport when your first love is the training rather than the getting on stage part. I feel like the getting on stage part is a byproduct of, well, I love to train. I also love the challenge of getting in shape and getting pretty gnarly peeled in certain phases to see how much of that training has resulted into the result we see on stage, right? So, yeah, so I started training when I was, I don't know if you can call it starting training, but I started training when I was about 8, 9, because we had a little gym set up. Then I'd say I was going to the gym on a proper split by the time I was 10. Then that stepped up when I was doing judo. Then it stepped up even more when I was playing rugby. And then eventually I got to the age of 15 where it was a conversation in my head where, right, I'm playing rugby here at quite a decent level, but I'm getting injured quite frequently, and I'm more afraid of not being able to train than being injured, not being able to play rugby. So then it was like an epiphany, like, wait, my true love here is the training. The progressively getting stronger. I like, I guess you boys, in the UK scene, we're very much governed by JP as being a massive kind of influencer in terms of how we train, in terms of that intensity, in terms of log booking, probably early days as well. Not to say it's been that way the whole way for me, but he was definitely a massive influence. When my first gym membership, the guys around me I was watching training was Jordan, Corin, Luke Sando, and Ben Chow. And those are some of the strongest people. Like, I just thought I saw them as not abnormal in the gym, but I thought, oh, that's just normal. So this is what I've got to do, right? So followed suit that way. Eventually, I was coached by Jordan for 4 years. And that's where really my addiction to progressive overload training really started. And I say this in my early years because I really do believe before you start getting technical, your first thing has to be, let's get gnarly strong, but just do it accurately. There's a difference between how I train now in terms of trying to find recruiting on in the last, I'd say in the last year and a half, year. So I've had many influences when it comes to training. So Jordan Peters, Scott Stevenson, John Meadows, all kind of accumulating different approaches and different inputs. Dante being a big one. Then a mix of that, then looking up to Justin Compton, Dallas McCarver, these people. So you're getting different inputs here, but this is the dilemma with the internet, Instagram. There is so much information out there. What do you do with all this? What do you do with it in terms of formulating a training style that is fit for you in that moment within your bodybuilding career, right? Because there are so many different ways to do this: high volume, low volume. Are you more of a branch lifter or more of a precise pinpoint hypertrophy coach type trainer? So this is where I think people get lost. They like in life, a lot of people adhere to camps. A lot of people want to be a part of a team, right? It's tribal. It's only natural. Humans want to be part of a group. So they start going, high volume versus low volume, or progressive overload versus, bro split, no logbook. What has happened during the duration of my own bodybuilding is I've utilized what has been fit for my goals at that present time. And I think that's the main thing, is I'm not delving in everything at once. I'm selecting something for what I actually require from my physique. And to an extent, there's been phases in which you can never say, because you can't go back and you can't really regret things, because that's how you learn. I've probably taken things a little bit too far. I could say that I probably took the logbooking progressive overload style maybe a year or two too far than I should have. But would I be this dense if I didn't? I don't know.
That's the thing. And I think we've spoke about this before in terms of going to the extremities of one style of training to another to find that sort of middle ground, which what works well for you. And one thing that I took out there was you picked out anecdotally what works well for you in that given moment. And especially as a coach, you'll find that different things work for different individuals in terms of their recovery capabilities to different muscle groups. One muscle group might be obviously more like sort of responsive to another group. You might train a little differently to that muscle group, to that muscle group, or to that individual, to that individual. And this is where people get tribal, like you said, in terms of, I'm just going to stick here, and then you got these people over here. But I think trying to find, like you said, in terms of Dante, which is really, really good, Scott Severson, JP, all these different people that you can sort of like, a hypertrophy coach, we can just sort of like delve into what they do and then put into your own training, see whether it works for you. Okay, it works for me. Next thing you know, you get a little pick of this person, pick of this person. Next thing you know, it works for you. And then you can take that into your own clients and what works for you, what works for them.
I think, sorry to interrupt. I think, look, the information is out there and we shouldn't be ignoring it, and you shouldn't be closed-minded. I think that's the main thing, but it is what you do with it. So what I found the biggest benefit to myself is having knowledge of all these different things and accumulating a toolbox to use whenever I got the job in which I need to use that tool. I think that's the main thing there. When I came out of my progressive overload, I'm saying I'm still doing progressive overload now to an extent, just less numerically, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Less absolutely fixed on the logbook, must beat logbook at all costs, even if it's losing tension on the muscle. What I would say is, I guess, over time, there's certain things that need to stay true. And what I've picked out from my time looking at clients and myself, coaching now for 7 years, intensity. I think when you're a young lifter and progressing through, I think you need to not be so concerned in the early days with exactly volume, frequency. I think your main thing should be is almost trying to train yourself to overtrain. Now, the reason I say this is because later in life, you almost need to know where the line is.
So
you can only do that. You can only do that when you've crossed it for many, many years. I spent years crossing line, and it's eventually got to the point in which now I could say I've backed off how I used to train in terms of intensity. But my intensity back then was going red in the face, nose bleeding before even started the set. Then pacing up and down, biting the bit for the next one, screaming my head off. There's a certain level of maturity that's evolved over the years in which I can keep myself calm and collected, take a set, and know when to stop it when I have exhausted the muscle and I am done. But doesn't mean back then when I was doing what I was doing wasn't worthwhile.
Oh, for sure.
So because now my main thing, what made me stop doing that was because I was 290 pounds still at that point, and my only holdback with getting heavier and more muscular was my ability to eat. Whereas previously that was not my issue.
Yeah,
I could eat for Britain, but back then it was my ability to eat. So why now, when I am way beyond the body composition set point where my body wants to be, why am I struggling now? Is because, well, I'm lifting some pretty heavy fucking weight. I'm absolutely taxing my CNS every fucking session, and I'm actually, I'll go on to this bit in a bit, but I'm actually reducing the amount of work I can put through a muscle only because my head is blown off, right? And as a result, I come out of the gym and I've got systemic CNS fatigue and I can't eat. Now I can't grow. That was not an issue in my early years. I'm not held back by, already having a 2 gram androgen load, the need for my body to grow or anything like that. I'm not on a lot of drugs. I don't, I can always progress that part in little bits here and there after a few months and stuff like that. But now in my older years, what am I going to do? Go take 3 grams, 4 grams? And then as a result, still not eat. So you have to realize that your training, part of it now in my later years, is trying to come out with the best result muscularly, but not the least amount of stress that's going to cause me to have any GI issues as a result. Because we know the relationship SNS PNS. If you are constantly doing that to your body and causing digestive issues that way, you can't grow. You can't grow in those later years. So this is where it's misconstrued. Is people watch IFBB pros and they're like, oh, they don't train that hard. They don't all that. It's contextual to what they require now they're in their later years to keep progressing. And part of that is staying healthy as well, because I've had injuries, but I don't regret
for sure.
It for the world. It took me deadlifting 402.5 for me to go, I think I've completed this now. I don't think I really need to push this any further.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying by these guys that are focusing on this, that, and the other all at once. You don't know where to start crossing it, start actually fucking training. And eventually your body's going to tell you the next steps in which you need to take your physique further.
For sure. I think that's so overlooked massively in terms of people doing, I think it's self-aware as well, being self-aware in terms of when you cross that line, what steps can you take forward to therefore progress your physique in terms of, like you said, now you're doing less, you're benefiting from it more. So in terms of what you're doing now with
Yeah.
Is it terms of training volume? Is it terms of your setup with training? Is it your exposure to load? All these different things, obviously, from a CNS perspective. What are you doing
Well,
differently now compared to back then?
this is a it's quite a difficult one to explain to a UK industry because we're very much tailored towards one way of thinking. It's with the least amount of fatigue, then eventually top offset, move on. Which is there is no problem in that at all. I love it. I love it. I love it for clients, certain clients. But there does come a point in which you need to think a little bit outside the box. And this is where, in particular, the advanced American pros know what they're doing. And a lot of us are quite critical of them, saying, yeah, those Americans don't train hard, whatnot. They just take sets when they feel like it. It's got to the point where I almost do hold back the amount of load that I put on a bar. Well, I do. I actively do, because I'm not doing some of the stuff I used to do, and purposely, because it would get me injured, because it's done so before. When you've got weaknesses in those areas, they're just going to go again. So with my training style now, it will change again. I can guarantee that it will change again. It will come in phases. But right now, I'm working with probably 3 pyramid sets, then 1 all-out gun to the head failure set on the end of it. And it will pyramid up in terms of proximity to failure. And I don't calculate that. I go by feel. My main thing is, so I say like set 1 about 60%. Set 2 about 75. Those I'm just taking it through ranges, feeling it, squeezing it, getting my muscle connection, drawing blood into the muscle, so I can go into that gun to the head failure set, fully loaded, pumped, a little bit fatigued. The main thing I think about is that set before the gun to the head failure. I'm thinking just shy of failure. Like I've probably got 1 or 2 in me without getting aggressive. The final set, the 4th, that will be all out, gun to the head. I can go red in the face and take it in that rep range. But even the rep ranges, they're not, they're at the least, they're 8s at the least.
I was going to ask you about the rep ranges. I was going to ask you about that. Is that auto-regulating depending on how you're feeling on the day, or in terms of, so for example, if you're feeling good, you'll probably expose yourself to a little bit more load, or a little bit like go down to that sort of like lower end of the 8 to 10s, and then maybe you might go to like a 12 to 15, or is that you just set in stone the rep range, or does that auto-regulate depending on how you feel, your recovery?
I'm not set in stone with anything, to be honest, because on the day, again, this is where, as a beginner, you don't know your body. When you're advanced, you know how things feel. So if I'm feeling particularly good, what would be a 10 rep max, I'm thinking, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to slip another 20 on this. I'm doing this. And it'll be an 8 or a 7 or something like that. Then regards rep ranges, it's also over time, you start to learn with certain body parts and even certain exercises in what rep range you're able to recruit as much tension and go to legit failure. Because for me, for example, and I used to do it, and it's the reason why I blew my bloody knees out, I used to squat 3 rep maxes, 4 rep maxes, but it did not grow my legs. It just shows in that rep range, I'm not there under enough time to fully tax the muscle. My head blown off, my knees splat on the wall, but the actual muscle is not. So for me, squatting movements, things like hack squats or pendulums, you're talking more 12 to 15s in that legit gun to the head failure set. Whereas I've got a Bradley Dennis that can squat 8 plates aside. He can do 5s and his quads will have a pump as if he's done 20s. This is where the individuality is different. Sasan, talking to Sasan, he said to me once, we have star body parts. We have body parts which we connect with, and they usually are most developed. The reason for that is because as soon as so on a leg press, as soon as he touches a leg press, is 1 plate aside, every fiber lights up, like all the light switches are on. Right? With me, it does not happen in one rep. So there's an individuality in terms of when you've got a strong body part and the way in which motor neuron units are fired left, right, and center, and everything's just alike, you know. So learn your body, learn in which you're able to recruit as much tension in said rep range at lowest amount. The higher amounts, the higher rep ranges, sure, you can light them up, because if you do the lower, you can do the upper. That's where it comes into getting strong in multitude of rep ranges, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But don't bother exposing yourself to a rep range which is utterly useless for you to build muscle. But this is the caveat. I'm talking about later life. In earlier life training, I think exposing yourself to a load, touching new weights, can be a really good lead on as a compensation, super compensation effect. So something I used to do every 3 weeks or so. So when I was deadlifting, part of my deadlifting program, every 3 weeks I'd expose myself to like a 2-repper, which for me when I was leading up was about 3. At the time, before I even did 400, it was about 360. I'd feel it every 3 weeks or so. No, it's not going to build muscle. But I would then go and do 320 for 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Because I just exposed myself to that load, right? I've just adapted my CNS. It's not adapting the muscle, it's adapting your CNS to feeling that load, putting your core under that amount of tension, you know? So in earlier life, I believe that, yeah, you can do that. And every so often, don't be so concerned with, right, I can't expose myself to this rep range because I'm not gaining enough tension. In early life, I think it can be really beneficial. In later life, when the risk to reward isn't quite just, I wouldn't be doing it.
I completely agree, and I say it to a lot of my clients. I say it to a lot of my clients when they say, "Oh, should I do 180 for an RDL or 190?" And they're like, "Firstly, see how you feel when you go in there." But it's never a bad thing to expose yourself to that new load, especially when it's obviously the novelty still there, and then you have that set point then to either sort of come back, and then the next time you touch it, you can be like, "Okay, well, it's better than what it was last time." And then you come back and then you go back to it again. And every time we touch that new load, you might get better execution, better tension, better stimulus, and then all these different things. And then you have that set point to go to. And then naturally that set point gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And then you expose yourself to 200, 210, 220. And I think that's something that a lot of people are shy of because of the logbook, because they go, "Oh, I got 180 for 6. So that's got to be up to 9. And then I'll go to 185. In actual fact, if you feel good on that certain day and you might get 190, go for it. Expose yourself to that load. Okay, and then next thing you know, that set point's there, and then you can just keep improving that set point. But I think honestly, it's pivotal for somebody in their own, and I'm so glad that I did it. I'm so glad that I did it.
My more advanced clients, I say, don't be a plonker. No. Yeah, earlier, like my more beginner clients, they'll say like, "I've got RDLs today, I've got a deadlift today, or a squat," and they'll go, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "I can't tell you what I want you to do. I want you to have a good session. I want you to come out safe." And then for some reason, they'll be on their phone, which the first thing I say is, "Get off your fucking phone." But they'll message me and they'll go, "Mate, I've just touched my top set weight and it just flew like nothing. I just did 1 rep and I dumped it. Can I try?" And I say, "Do you feel safe?" "Yeah." "Is it on?" "Yeah." "We'll go take it." If it's on that day, take it. But I don't think you should be doing that every week.
Oh no, not for sure. No, not at all. I think, like you said, probably every maybe 4 to 6 weeks, just having that set point to go back to. Maybe it might be even longer, but I wouldn't do that every single week. No chance. But like you said, for more advanced clients who know their body, know how to get the most out of what works for them in terms of rep ranges and stuff, I think it wouldn't be.
Yeah. For me now, I can't think like that. I just can't. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love it. I love it. There's a reason my dumbbells only go up to 70 kilos in my gym. It's because I'm not allowed to press anything else. And I just got to keep doing it until I get 25 reps. And then I'll just keep putting it later and later down the exercise order. That's the reason. Otherwise, because I've got a lot of gym kit, I buy a lot of gym kit, but that's the one thing I buy more of is dumbbells. For that reason, it's not worth it. It's just not.
It's not. I completely agree. Completely agree with you.
When it comes to
No,
the different training styles kind of creating a different look in the physique. So obviously you kind of see people talking about, the heavier, like sort of Dorian Yates' era of his sort of style of training, creating a more dense, grainy looking muscle compared to someone else, for example, maybe like Phil or Jay. What's sort of your take on the different styles creating a different look?
I think first and foremost, there's a genetic element to how the
Yeah.
muscle bellies insert, how they feel. But I definitely believe in this. Yeah, I do. So from my own anecdotal experience, is I was a heavy progressive overload trainer, and it made me dense. It made the muscle look matured beyond my years. And then later in life now, where I've started, and I saw it happen within about 5-6 months, where I started doing more volume, less actual failure sets, but I have failure sets at the end of pyramid sets. I've started to get bubbly and round, on top of that maturity. So I've worked in stages there, and it wasn't intentional. It's learning as I go, honestly. So I do believe in it. I also, this is a very interesting thing, is there's a difference towards a guy in prep or toward the back end who gets flat, like if they've been a volume trainer and they've got round muscle bellies and it's volumed muscle, versus mature grainy muscle that might have come from heavy branch style training. What I see from like a Branch Warren is they never really they get flat for them, but it's a different kind of flat. They're not round and bubbly, but the detail doesn't really fade like it would in somebody who's got round muscle bellies. And the guy that's got round muscle bellies is your typical black guy who doesn't get flat, but the lines disappear. The detail goes because their training has been so dependent on muscle pushing up against skin, volumed muscle for sarcoplasmic. It's got a different look to it. So the person that's training heavy doesn't lose their grain when they go flat. The person who is round and bubbly, like a Samson, you go, oh, he never gets flat, but they will lose their lines when they go flat. That's been interesting, like finding for myself.
Yeah.
That, and if you're using enough growth, you won't go flat.
Yeah.
That's good. But that I appreciate the insight into the training. Honestly, I think that's going to help a lot of people. I think the biggest caveat from that there was, especially in your younger years, don't be afraid to expose yourselves to new load. Plus, as well, don't be afraid to find what works for you as an individual in that given phase that you're in. But that takes time to learn that in terms of what works well for you. So you'll find that what rep ranges work well for you in terms of that.
Man, like, yeah, don't overthink it. Go get strong, and fucking like, and as well, if you love training, oh, it's so fucking fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I found fun in what I'm doing now because I'm getting rewards from it, and the look in the gym is crazy, full pumped, and it's still strong. Don't get me wrong, but there is a different excitement from absolutely blowing a load.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It is fun. So that's where I say, younger guys, man, fall in love with the training, and that's part of it.
Yeah, nah. But I'm going to go on to obviously the sort of mindset now in terms of how you built up your own coaching brand as well as becoming a better athlete, like I said, with being in bodybuilding. How have you found it over the past 2 years from like a self-development perspective, what you've put in place, how you've managed things with your coaching business skyrocketing, but also as well trying to maximize your own progress as well, if you can sort of delve into that. And the struggles as well,
So
and the struggles that come
basically,
alongside that.
I'm a really good.
Sorry.
I was going to say, so basically, I'm not really a bodybuilder. I'm just a really good salesman who knows how to use Loom and give fake service for the sake of giving service. So people pay me money to tell them how good they actually look when they don't. That's that's the industry we live in. I've honestly, how I've built my coaching and how I guess what I've done the last couple of years is when I say something, my opinion is more valid now than it used to be. And how I've done that is I've been myself and I've been very honest. I've changed the way I am just to earn an extra buck. Never. Because I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not about, I'm a coach that if you want progress, you come to, but I will not sell you bullshit and go give you a 20-minute Zoom to tell you how you've been feeling based on how you've told me you've been feeling. I'm there to diagnose your biofeedback and week in, week out, make the correct decision so we get step 1, step 2, step 3, accumulate progress that way. I'm addicted. My coaching process is I'm addicted to making the correct decisions week out, week. That's how you move forward. I'm purely based on that. No, it doesn't get me 100 clients, nor do I want 100 clients. No fucking way. But if you look at the client base and how they look, why?
Yeah.
I don't care about a massive coaching business at all. I care about fucking making freaks and making bloody good bodybuilders. It's fun to me. This isn't about, if I wanted to earn money, I would have used my master's degree. I would not be doing this. This is out of pure enjoyment and passion. So I'm just being myself. And this is where so much of the industry is, to me, it's not bodybuilding. Like people haven't got an eye anymore. People rely on spreadsheets. Yeah, I have spreadsheets, but that's my data tracking. But they numerically add up what they need to do to peak someone. They don't understand how to use their eyes and know the background information, the mechanisms of action, and apply. It's application.
Yeah.
Proper application. So I guess it doesn't make me popular, no. But the people that know, they know. And as a result, man, like I get to work with like-minded people. And in my people, most of your life is working, right? So if you can choose your work, that's step 1. That's brilliant. You could choose what you love. Part of what you love is also the people you have to work with. Step 2, I'm working with like-minded people that are exactly like me in my mind frame. It makes my life so fun. You know, that's what it is for me. I live on a farm, bodybuild in my own gym, and coach fucking awesome athletes. What more do I want? I don't need a Porsche or a Ferrari. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm happy, like legit happy. You know, I'm not chasing money.
That's the thing.
Passion, man. It's great.
Yeah.
So
I think
in terms of building, just
sorry, carry on, Dan. Like, you carry on, mate. You carry on. Sorry for interrupting.
I was just saying that in terms of just building my coaching business, I've just built the life I want to. That's all. I've just been very honest. It's a slow process. Yeah, it is. I've been coaching for 7 years. It's a slow process, but it's like you have one life. At least do what you enjoy. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think with the people that take, like you said, you've been over a 7-year period now coaching. I think what's really important there is that you've put out content that you want to put out. You've done things that you want to do. You've been how you are. There's been no like mirror or anything. And I think what you've done is you put yourself in a position where you've attracted the people that are like you. Next thing you know, like you said, you're loving the job that you're doing, in the industry that you love doing it in terms of bodybuilding, the sport that you love and you're passionate about. Plus, as well, you get to coach people who are like-minded and people that literally look up to you because they see you as, okay, I'm like that. I want to be like. And this is the nice thing about coaching, where if you provide information that you like and you try and target people that you can resonate with, next thing you know, you're coaching people. And it doesn't even feel like you're coaching people and doing a job because you're just loving what you're doing. And I think you found that spot, which is so cool to see. And you can see that from your athletes that you coach as well, which is really good.
I find it. I find it funny that you call my stuff content. I don't think about what I post, honestly. Like
Oh
I
no, for sure,
literally go, yeah, that,
for sure.
just that. No, but I love how you call it content because it's from the outside looking in, and you still see it as valuable, which actually means a lot to me because there is no thought behind it whatsoever. Actual content, I don't really scroll Instagram that much. I actually just post and do things on my story. I do NGLs quite a lot now because I found it's a great way to help people while I'm doing cardio. In terms of actual content, I do that for my clients and my clients only. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
That's literally all I care about. I'm focused on helping my clients. I don't, most of my day is not on Instagram. It's with my guys. They're paying me the money. So why am I investing all this energy into people that I'm not?
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head.
And they're my guys. I'm invested in them. I want to help them first.
You've nailed it on the head, genuinely. And I think that's a big thing there. I think that's what I mean about your content, mate. I see your content as NGLs, but then again, yes, they're really valuable in terms of the content that you provide, and obviously in terms of the information that you provide. And then with training as well, in terms of like I know your approach around training, like little things like you post your daily routine, mate, and you just sort of get hooked in terms of like you just know what people do. But that's what I meant about your content, mate. The content that you provide is yeah, I think it's perfect, mate. Class. It's really good.
Yeah, I guess the routine stuff, I guess I do give a bit of an outlook. I don't even think about that. I guess like everyone knows I take Manny for a walk up the farm road every morning, that kind of thing. Then I'm in for cardio. So I guess I never really thought of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you probably plan a good murder for me. Like you could probably make.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm about.
Yeah,
that's what I'm about, mate. I'll do
you
that.
know exactly where I am this time of day.
Yeah. But obviously we spoke about, we touched upon how your coaching has, like I said, over the past 2-3 years, mate, it's gone from like strength to strength. How have you found that, and how have you handled that in terms of workload, in terms of yourself, like mentally, physically? Because I'm going through this phase now, mate, where my business is sort of leveling up, and it's getting to the point where it's feeling like pretty overwhelming. So how have you found that in terms of what's helped you, and how have you sort of moved forward in terms of your own physique development, plus maximizing your own coaching as well?
It's definitely a balance. And I can honestly say there was a period last year in which my own physique suffered because of the amount of work that was going into my coaching. But since then, I leveled up myself. There's a step up in maturity. There is a step up in which in my case, every minute of my day is accounted for. Every minute to make it work so I can still train, eat my meals, do my cardio and all the extra shit, and make sure that everyone is tended to. There's a maturity, and it's just going, right, this is my life, let's make it work. What I will say is this is actually a conversation I was having with my mum. There was, what I found is my workload has only increased, not because the amount of clients I've got, it's only because the quality of athlete I'm taking on. What comes with is a pressure. There is definitely a pressure, for sure. I've been let down by other coaches massively. One could have fucking killed me. So I, from that moment onwards, and it taught me a lesson, it's like, well, when it comes to my guys, I will never, ever let them down. So in terms of when you see, I guess not much of it documented, when I'm peaking clients, I am on them all the time. I will not miss information. I will not have all information tracked. This is why when clients check in and they've got any important information that needs to be known, I say no voice note. It's got to be typed out. It needs to be in a chat search so I can highlight it, copy it, paste it, put it in I've got a calendar for every day for that client in terms, that's a note for that day. If you don't miss any information, you don't miss. So that's one thing is with pressure means stepping up, and it means making sure that nothing is ever missed. And I think that's helped a lot in terms of having that calendar on every client sheet in terms of tracking every bit of information, everything about their life I know about. It's very, very important. You miss when you forget key parts of information. So that's one thing that's definitely helps translate this year. So then I can handle that pressure. Pressure only really gets to you when you're not confident.
Mm-hmm.
Being confident is knowing your shit. Have you ever done like a PowerPoint in school and you're like actually really nervous because you don't know the fucking information? PowerPoints only go well when you genuinely like really know the information. You don't need a script. You know this shit. When you're using a script, that's when you're not confident.
Yeah.
Same
I
thing.
think we got a
Same
good
thing. You
glimpse
need
of
to
it.
know every client.
The YouTube video that you did with Nat for the PCA British Finals. Obviously, when you did that weekend, I think there was 2 parts or 3 parts or something. When you saw, obviously, it wasn't the whole peak, but you saw a day before the show, and you going through everything with him there. You see how much detail you were going through with him there, man.
Oh, mate, for sure.
Oh, Christ! You should have been with me for Cam and Ben's peak the other week. It was like back and forth, like me and Cam were staying in Airbnb and Ben was in another Airbnb, back and forth, like calling them in there, then going to Ben's at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, another look. Okay, if you wake up in the night, send me pictures, right? What was your piss at this time? Like what color was it? How much came out? It's like it's even leveled up. Peak is amateur to me now compared to where I was. That's evolution though.
Yeah,
it's evolution over time. For sure. It's really interesting because with your guys coaching, like Connor, you're young, you're 22, right? 23?
21.
You're 21. Fuck me, that's scary. Tom, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Yeah, so still young. Like you guys, it's exciting. Like I'm not an older guy. I'm 27. I'll turn 28 this month, next month. But I've done that bit back then, and I'm here now, and I'm now watching the coaches come up. I'm really excited for seeing you guys evolve as coaches. That's to me because I've been there and I respect the art of it. Whenever I was a kid, I never looked at athletes in terms of inspiration. I always look at coaches. Coaches were big me in terms of assessing how they manage their athletes. So from me looking at you guys coming up and improving, it's exciting. It's really exciting because you've got all of this and you're going to be continuously learning, and even at a faster rate because you're younger. Like you have all this information and you have all these contacts to learn from as well. These networking, right? So you guys got the upper hand. It's so exciting because you're going to be fantastic, like top of the range, UK coaches one day, and even you might have fucking Olympians if you want to go in that direction.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm. If that's a goal, it will. Trust me, it will probably happen one day. It will probably will, and to me, it's exciting to watch.
It means a lot, mate. Genuinely, it means a lot because that's the reason why we want to get people more like yourself who have been there, done that, and give us the information that not only we need, but also the people that are listening to this podcast and watching this podcast. Because at the end of the day, we look at people like yourself who are still, don't get me wrong, you've been doing it for 7 years, but the rate of progression that you're going to make as well over the next few years is going to be great. So having your advice in terms of where we were at, you've been here, done that, and then we can get to your point where you're at now, and then we can use your stepping stones to where you're at in a few years' time. It's sort of exciting because you're excited to see us come up, but we're excited to see where you land, so that we can sort of like pick your brain to how to get to where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I'll tell you is a revelation of mine is there are people say there's levels to this industry. There's not. There's different industries. Okay, so we've got the industry within the UK. I'm talking about the competitive scene. which are coaching people at PCA shows, FitX shows, this kind of thing, and potentially Two Bros, stuff like that. Then you've got the well-known coaches that are coaching people in pro shows, right? That's kind of a transition, and it's very, very different. It's very, very different in terms of the atmosphere, the people you're rubbing shoulders with. And then the step up from there is the Olympia. Now, that's like 3 industries away, even from that. Totally different scene, completely different. These coaches are in Olympia they are in my position now, talking to you, but talking to me and saying, you have this to look forward to. You're such a young coach. You're at the Olympia coaching. Somebody who is very, very underrated in terms of their experience, and in my opinion is one of the best coaches in the UK, is Jace. Very, very underrated. People don't realise that he coaches at the Olympia pretty much every year. He doesn't show that off too much, but he is. He was there when I was there last year. He has so much, like, he's got a wealth of information that you would only know if you've been there, done that. Yeah. It's a completely different political setup. It's huge, you know, and this is where I am now learning this part of it. Yeah, I thought I'd mention Jace there because he shared a lot of information with me when I got to that point.
Yeah, that's good. Amazing. That's good. Yeah, you nailed it. So, we'll finish it on here. What is the top 3 bits of advice you'd give to a coach nowadays in terms of wanting to get better? In terms of like a young up and coming coach, 21, 24 years old, what is the top bit of advice that you sort of wish that you had at our age? Or stuff that you found valuable, even.
Again, this is going to apply to me because people have different goals. You know, people have the goal of being a coach and just earning a lot of money. It's there if you want it. Yeah, it's there if you want it. If you're going to do it my way, you're not going to be that person. You're not. I'll be honest, you're not. But to me, I value my passion over money every day of the week because it makes me happy. So if you want to go in my direction, is be true to yourself. Don't sell fake shit. So by fake shit is stop fulfilling people's time that is not related to their progress. Right? Be addicted to progress within that client. Another one would be a good person, be polite to people, be nice to people, and eventually you'll be rubbing shoulders with very, very good coaches that will pass on gems of information. Gems of information. You know, eventually as well, your name will be coming out their mouth to other people in the industry, other coaches. And now you all of a sudden have a network without directly being in contact with that person. So when you're at an event, like if I'm in Florida or Vegas for the Olympia or any pro show, it's like I meet this person. They followed me on Instagram because they come out of this coach's mouth and they come up to you, oh, hey dude, nice to finally meet you. Now you have that conversation. Now you've got another opportunity to learn. So yeah, just be very nice, be respectful to people, and pay information forward. Because over the course of my coaching, a lot to go yet, a lot of development of your guys is you're going to learn so much key pieces of information. You're going to form your own ideologies out of that eventually, because you don't want to just be just a replica of somebody else. Eventually, all these ideas, you're forming your own version, your own, you know, whatever. But pay homage to the people which you've learned from. It goes a long way in this industry. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
So many people have done so much for me. In the UK in particular, Martin, Cal, Jace, across the world, Patrick Tor. He's shared so much information with me. Milos, again, a lot of information. But you've learned this direct from these people. They deserve to have the credit in terms of how they're helping the people come up in this industry, coaching.
Hang on, mate. Couldn't get any better. So we've got be nice, be respectful, and
Be nice.
I think just being passionate and be passionate about what you do, and that is the best way to go about things. So if you want to be a good coach, go about the way like you would, like Dan would, in my opinion, because that's the way I like to sort of hold myself accountable in terms of the way I do things, with being passionate. Anyone can try and get more sales and get more leads or whatever the crap that they do now, but if you're truly passionate about something that you do,
and people look, people will see through your bullshit as well. Because I could easily say all this, it's be yourself, be passionate. But really, am I just a really good salesman at saying that so people think I'm legit? Could be. But eventually your work will start speaking for yourself and people will be actually vouching for your name.
yeah,
That's the difference,
mm-hmm.
you know? So, yeah, be yourself and do it for
yeah. You've hit the nail on the head.
Your life.
Perfect.
You've hit the nail on the head. But that's it from me. I've asked all the questions that I want to ask. Con, have you got any more?
Yeah, we've covered everything that I thought we were going to, and more.
Legendary. Well, Dan, mate, say your socials in terms of people where want to find you, where can they find you, and anything that you want to round off by saying, mate, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for giving us your time. And like I said, mate, we appreciate it. But where can people find you and all that good stuff?
Mate, I live on a farm isolated from civilization for a reason. I'm here for not being found, right? Away. Don't follow me on Instagram. It's not worth it. Trust me. But follow Engineered Muscle. They put out so many good products. Yeah, follow Engineered. It's good shit.
That's it.
Yeah, apart from that, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, though, man. We appreciate we appreciate your time, and we appreciate you going through everything in terms of training.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you for keeping it basically under an hour.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Romana will be stamping her foot. It's nearly bedtime. So, yeah.
Thank you, though, man. We appreciate it.